LawHelp New York Project Director Leah Margulies presented the following Ignite session at the LSC TIG Conference in January 2013. This Ignite focuses on the work LawHelp New York accomplished in the aftermath of Superstorm Sandy, which devastated parts of New York City and the surrounding areas.
With the storm still raging, our social media guru Wilneda started the Hurricane Sandy New York Assistance blog page, posting disaster relief information. With no electricity in Manhattan south of 39th Street and huge sections of the outer boroughs out, 4 million people without electricity, cell phones were the only way to access the web. Whatever we put on the blog, we promoted on Facebook. On October 31st, we started posting how to apply for FEMA, and on November 1, how to replace food stamps. Anna, LawHelp New York's part-time staff from Legal Assistance of Western New York, partnered with Wilneda on the social media postings. As the disaster grew, we collected and posted federal, state, and local relief information. New York City's Notify system sent survival updates to my cell phone, and we posted it several times a day. Whatever we blogged went out on Twitter and Facebook. For example, how to apply for disaster unemployment assistance for people who couldn't get to work or whose work was destroyed, and New York City's Rapid Repair Program. The day before Election Day, we used Facebook to tell disaster victims that they could vote anywhere in the state. And after LSNYC launched the citywide Sandy Recovery Hotline on November 6th, we promoted it on all our social media. Only 1% of Facebook posts go viral, which means getting over 20%. Our Sandy post on November 6th got 31.34% virality rate. We tweeted about where to find emergency services where people could charge their phones and that they should apply for FEMA right away. Retweets from Twitter grew substantially. Visits to our blog skyrocketed. Before Sandy, we were getting about 50 a day. This page, our main recovery resource page, for a few days had more than 1,000 visits a day. Now it's stabilized at about 600. We used jump links to organize the massive amounts of information and added more links every day, all day long. We sent the blog page for translation as soon as possible and got this and Twitter up in Spanish by November 5th. The blog lists how to find legal services. New recovery hotlines proliferated. The State Bar, Legal Services NYC, the Legal Aid Society, New York Legal Action Group, Make the Road New York, and others. Meanwhile, on the LawHelp New York homepage, we highlighted in red links to the recovery blog, to the calendar of free clinics, and resurrected our disaster topic area and added whole new subtopics relevant to Sandy. The Executive Director of Volunteers of Legal Services, a founding member of the New York LawHelp Consortium, was interviewed on New York One, the main New York City TV news in New York City, and NBC News as well. He highlighted LawHelp New York as the project compiling comprehensive online information. Both stations added links to our blog on their website. New York One still has a link to our blog up on their Sandy relief efforts in New York City page. Using our e-newsletter with circulation of about 3,700, we told our colleagues around the state how we, Legal Services NYC, MFY, and others were using Twitter and other social media to share information about disaster legal aid. We usually put out about 3 newsletters a year, but we've put out 3 since Sandy hit. On November 6th, with the help of Pro Bono Net and City Bar, we circulated a press release about using social media to publicize essential disaster recovery information. It was picked up by this online news service. That Legal Services was using Twitter to respond to Sandy was picked up nationally as well. The Shriver Center reported, quote, although many of their offices were closed and some were without power or flooded, the New York City public interest lawyers still managed to help clients in crisis during and after Hurricane Sandy. We tweeted about court closures, suspension of evictions at deadlines for filing appeals, how to get replacement food stamps. With so many victims facing FEMA denials and insurance companies that are dragging their feet, we blogged about replacing lost records and keeping good notes about FEMA inspections and insurance problems. LawHelp was asked to post a calendar of free legal clinics. Promoting information about free legal clinics became an important function. We borrowed this widget from Pro Bono Net and circulated the link to legal services programs and directions on how to embed it to make the calendar widely available. This is the clinic that City Bar, Staten Island Legal Services, and Make the Road and MFY collaboratively staff on Sundays at an Occupy Sandy site in Midland Beach, Staten Island. This is about 1.5 blocks from the ocean, and the area was totally flooded. We developed a new leaflet about our social media and online tools in English and Spanish. LSNYC led an effort to survey the needs of poor people in the most affected areas, mobilizing about 100 law student volunteers to conduct the survey during their intersession. About 1,500 of these leaflets were distributed during this effort.